Want to find yourself some dinos on Valguero to tame? Well, of course you do. There's plenty out there for you to find. Some to ride and some to kill, but all of them needed for at least something in the world of ARK. So here's a list for every single one you're going to find on Valguero. Kicking off with the king of storing pally and of course making you plenty of paste is the snail Achatina. You'll find them all over in these spots here. Coming up with the pack buffed bleeder and certainly a monster in the right hands is of course the Allo, and you'll find the Allo all over in these locations here. Need to tame yourself a Helicopterion or make those special darts? Well, go and find yourself some Ammonite in these spots here. Want to farm plenty of silica pearls or maybe even get some angler gel in your life? Then Anglerfish is the way, and you'll find these all over here as well as Aberrant variants as well. Of course, the daddy of metal farming when it comes to using these in the open world. Don't forget, of course, they know auto harvest, which is an amazing thing, and you can specifically tell them to just harvest metal. Ankies, you can find them all over in these spots here. Fingers crossed we're going to get a TLC to this one soon, otherwise just an annoyance to run into caves that slow you down when they shoot you with their web propulsion. Araneos, you can find them in these caves here, as well as Aberrant variants too. Certainly an underrated creature in my opinion, with the ability to produce you more sap than you think. Put them near a tree sap tab and watch the slot cap limit change. Arkas also doubles as a parachute. An absolute necessity when it comes to herbivore taming, because this thing produces you algae, and of course is a great thing to travel in the sea without the requirement of a scuba tank, is Archelons. You'll find them all over here. Of course, still the undisputed king of flyers when it comes to multitasking things in the air. Argentavis is, well, pretty much all over Valguero in these spots here. Watch out, they spit, they'll break your armor, and will break down bases if in the right hands. Arthroplorus, you'll find them all over in these caves here. Drakelings make a return to Valguero, the Lost Colony expansion pre-order treat, with 4 different variations for you to tame, and with each variation they spawn in very specific places because they got to obviously marry up to the regions that they meant to spawn in. Spring, summer, autumn and winter Drakelings will be found all over in these locations here. The now second best king when it comes to stunning things in the ocean, you'll find them all over here, with Aberrant variants to find too. And still an absolute monster in the right hands with a powerful health pool, powerful punch. When it comes to melee, they spit hard and spit well and spit in your face and knock you out, burrowing into the ground and up out at a moment's notice. Basilisks will be found in the Aberration area here. Still a most certain fave when it comes to traversing the ocean, having a very high health tanky pool to it. Don't forget, this thing heals rapidly when it's near the surface. Basilos will be found all over in these spots here. Want to get some serious paste farming in your life? Then make sure to go and tame one of these, take them to the Broodmother Cave, and you'll get plenty of paste in no time at all. Also doubles as a great first tame if you can get one pretty quick early on, and allows you to travel around the map with relative ease. Beelzebuffos, find them in the swamp here. Not forgetting, of course, Aberrant variants can be offered to you too. The once thought Ragnarok exclusive Bison makes a return with this map too. Bisons are found all over across Valguero in these locations here. Of course, milk production is a big thing if you're planning to raise wyverns. Get one of these. One creature I hope gets some TLC in the future. Don't feel like it's being used nearly as much as it used to, but is a great purpose-fit tool for Rhinonafa breeding at the very least, and does farm berries at the dozen, is the Bronto. Brontosauruses will be found all over in these locations here. And yes, the Brood Mummy makes its return to Valguero Ascended, a great source for loot. If you can kill it, it will have a high health pull at that, with some RNG on what it actually spawns with, and will keep respawning upon killing it. Brood Mummy will be found in this specific location here. Bulbdogs are back, of course, with the Aberration underworld of Valguero. Bulbdogs are a mainstay, and you'll find them all over to get some light pet love in your life, and you may certainly want one when you find out another creature later on in this list. The once long ago king of tanking and raiding now just simply acts as a bit of a meat shield. Carbonumus is a regular enough spawning all over in these spots here, with an Aberrant variant offered too. The monstrous blood-fueled meat-running Karkar is on Valguero, most definitely still the best carnivore in ARK, and you'll find these all over in these locations. Kind of underrated, but a definite worthy choice if you plan to get something early on that does some great bleed damage and definitely pops a bit of a whoop. What kind of word is that? Carnotaurus, it's a mainstay on most ARK maps and we found on Valguero 2 in these locations. Not forgetting, of course, its gobble gobble turkey-necked red buffed version, alpha version, will be found in the same locations too. Oh, and an Aberrant version. How could we forget? Because Aberration, they're here too. Beaver relievers, never fear, Casteroids is still here with the plenty of paste dams surrounded around it, though in very small quantities on Valguero, and you'll find these in these specific spots in these locations here. And yes, seems to be a mainstay when it comes to any ARK map. The cat makes its return to Valguero 2, surprisingly in quite a few locations dotted around Valguero. Of course, a great double up if you want to scare away any Microraptors or Troodons. Speedy Boy is back on Val 2, a great healing companion at that. Ceratosaurus is all over in these locations if you need to farm some of those spines to eventually tame yourself one. And the beer guzzling, poop throwing Calicotherium can be found all over in these specific locations across Valguero 2. Want to make yourself some shocking darts, then you're going to need some biotoxin, and with that you're going to need to kill Nidaria, and Nidaria can be found all over in these sea locations here. Gone fishing, want fishing, who likes fishing? I don't like fishing, but you might like fishing, and if you do, coelacanth, go and get them here. One day people may want to tame these. Until then, you're just going to get annoyed by these when you're planning to tame anything. Compies, they'll be found all over in these locations here. A surprise to see added to Valguero, making Aberration even less desirable to travel to, because in this version, this mini Aberration on Valguero offers the Cosmo, so you can get a bit of Spidey swinging in your life. Always a good companion to have when you need to heal your dinos in a hurry, though the Snow Owl definitely offers perhaps a more balanced way to heal things if you've got the time. But even so, Daedons are all over in these locations to tame and maybe take into your next boss fight. Another beer guzzler and an absolute monster when it comes to anything in ARK. This really is certainly a boss fighter without a doubt. A great buffing companion at that too. If you're planning to tame one, Dinotheriums, you'll find them all over in these locations to tame. And of course, the map exclusive adventuring powerhouse when it comes to bosses. This thing seriously still is, though its eggs did get a bit of a nerf. I don't know if you know this, but now you will know this. Deinonychus and their respective eggs to nab to pop out one of your own will be found in their specific locations like they were in ASE. And oh dear, now not a boss bleeder, but still a monster nonetheless. We'll be definitely testing this one out more in the coming months. But of course, the Deinosuchus is still a fearful thing to run into, and you'll find them all over in the swamp here. Watch out, they spit. That's what a Dilo does, and normally found within the beginner areas, because that's where they're spawning once again, as well as a few other areas in the jungle too. And another creature I hope we see a TLC in the future too. Still a great air conditioning buffing creature is the Dimetrodon, and you'll find the Dimetrodon all over in these spots here. Not forgetting, of course, there's an Aberrant variant on top in Aberration land. Absolute monsters when it comes to gangs of these. Watch your armor, it will break it in very quick succession. Dimorphodons can be found all over in Valguero, as well as Aberrant variants on top too. Kaya doesn't like these, but I certainly do. It's a great creature for getting in the ocean quick and getting around rapid in the ocean. And maybe that's about it, though go and try and kill some Euryptrids with one of these. Diplocaulus, you can find these as well as Aberrant variants all over in these locations. Still a great early tame in my opinion, a great berry farmer at that, a monster for moving about with a great health pool on top. Diplodocus can be found in these locations here. Need to farm some honey without taming a bee, then you want a dire bear, which absolutely packs a punch on top, and you'll find dire bears all over in these locations. Get leveling one and you might hear a Star Wars theme tune too. Not forgetting there is polar versions to find in certain caves across Valguero, and an Aberrant variant on top to boot. Direwolves are aplenty when it comes to Valguero, spawning all over the icy sections for you to tame. Everybody loves the direwolf. A lot of people still love direwolves. Of course, sniff out things for you explorer notes in particular, though you won't find any explorer notes on this map. But nevertheless, direwolves here, there, and everywhere. Can't do a creature location vid without the flagship Dino Dodo. You'll find them all over on Valguero in these locations here, with an Aberrant variant on top if you want to tame one of those too. Stone, everyone loves stone, and if you want stone, then you want a Doedicurus because it harvests stone very well. And now you can simply ask it to just harvest stone, and just that alone with its auto harvesting function on top too. Doedicurus can be found all over in these locations with an Aberrant variant on top too. A surprising addition to Valguero. Wasn't too sure whether we was going to see them or not, but apparently we are. They're there, here, there, and well, somewhere to find. But of course, you won't find them until it's nighttime. Dreadmares or Dread Stallions can be found menacing the skies in these specific spots here. Surprisingly, a very rare spawn on Valguero, and well, if you want to get fertilizer being automatically produced, then you're going to want to get one of these to start storing your poop into. Dung beetles can be found very specifically here on Valguero. An absolute outstanding mean farming machine when it comes to metal and stone, specifically on Valguero, can be found in one big underwater ocean biome deep within Valguero, with you needing to travel down watery tunnels to find one, and you'll find them here. Making its debut as part of the Fantastic Beasts / Lost Colony DLC offering, seems to be an absolute monster when it comes to buffing creatures. I don't quite understand exactly how this thing works just yet, but it does seem to be a worthy creature for you to tame, well, kill to tame. Elder Claws can be found all over in these spots across Valguero. Surprisingly, can still be tamed, though I don't know anybody that tames these. Maybe you want to, or maybe you just simply want to avoid these, and if you want to avoid these, then you want to avoid these from these locations here. And of course, there's Aberrant variants to avoid too. Certainly one of my favourites to tame when it comes to knocking out anything and everything in ARK. Get yourself some carrots and find some equises in these locations here. Not forgetting there's Aberrant variants to tame too. Want to get yourself some early black pearls in your life? Of course you do. Then you want to go and kill some Eurypterids, and you'll find Eurypterids in these specific locations here to kill. With the mini Aberration on Valguero comes the various light pets, and the Featherlight makes its arrival to this version of Valguero too, and you'll find these in these locations across the green zone. And with Valguero comes two specific wyverns to tame. Well, get eggs and then run away quickly before they tear your face off, or in this case, breathe fire on you. Fire wyverns will be found deep within the wyvern trench across this specific location here. Watch out for alpha variants. They do spawn, though very rarely, and you'll find them in the very same locations as well. And well, if you're Syntac, maybe you'll want to go and tame one of these. Anyone else? Maybe you will. I mean, I guess they are quite rapid when it comes to land traversing, but apart from that, nightmare to tame. Gallimimus can be found all over in these locations to attempt to knock out. Get yourself some rare flowers, because you won't have to run very far to find one of these to tame, nab, and take home to get you producing honey at the bucket load. Giant queen bees can be found all over Valguero. Pretty common spawn, in fact, as it turns out to be. And the once undisputed king of the dinosaurs, though, gotta say, not really as much now, but still quite a worthy creature to tame. Right, Gigantosaurus can be found all over in these specific spots here if you want to get a monstrous monster in your life. Monkey see, monkey do, monkey like to pick you up and throw you. This Gigantopithecus can be found all over in, of course, the redwood areas for some good solid berry and fiber gathering. And great to see the Gigantoraptor makes its return to Valguero 2. A great budding companion when it comes to raising, breeding, anything, and simply a great thing to run around on a map on. Don't forget those wyvern eggs if you want to tame one with ease. You can find these in these locations here. Deep down in the dark abyss of Aberration in the red zone, you can find glowtails to tame. Of course, watch out for all the nasties around them, but they are there to nab if you plan to get yourself a glowtail. And without a doubt, now the king of the ocean, the Helicoprions. Trust me, this thing hits seriously hard. I'll be surprised if we don't see a nerf on this in the near future. Can be found all over in these spots, sharing with, of course, Megalodon spawns as well. And now an absolute doddle to tame, because flyer babies are a thing, and this thing has babies for you to claim. You now no longer have to go through the laborious taming process to nab one if you plan to get some golden eggs in your life. Hesperornis can be found in these locations here. Need some quick, easy meat refrigeration before actually unlocking a fridge? Then get yourself a Hyenodon, and you'll find Hyenodons plentiful all across Valguero in these locations here. And that's right, the Song of Fire and Ice still remains with Valguero, with ice wyverns dominating the upper part of the wyvern trench, and you'll find these all across in these locations here. Get some easy refrigeration in your life with a few of these, right? And if you do plan to tame a Hesperornis or maybe an otter and want to buff some fish to turn them into golden fish, then you'll want to tame yourself a seagull still. But more often than not, you'll probably just be avoiding these from swooping down from the skies to steal your goods. Ichthyornis can be found all over in these locations. And still a great go-to tame when it comes to getting into the ocean very early on. The dolphin can be found all over. To befriend and bucket like Echo, find these in these spots here. Need to turn your berries into seeds. Don't forget this thing still does that and is an unlimited sprinter. Iguanodons can be found all over in these locations with an aberrant variant to find too. Watch it, it's all thumbs. Surprising to see on Valguero considering there's no weather to report, but still, the squeaky squealing Jerboa can be found all over in these locations to tame. Want to get yourself some serious poly in your life, or maybe even just some easy insulation? Penguins, Kairuku, can be found all over in the snow biome locations all across here if you're planning to find or tame one. Mark, mark. Most definitely will see you before you see it, because it'll pounce, tear you off your mount and carry you wherever it wants to. Capro can be found all over in the swampy locations if you plan to tame one. And that's right, the crab makes its return once again to Valguero, a great farming companion, an absolute tank at that as well, and can be found all over, of course, in Aberration. So get down there and get taming one. Pretty easy to one-shot with a cannon if you aim right. And I mean, aim true, dead on, not right. Maybe another creature that needs a bit of a TLC, do you think? Still can enrage a Giga if playing your cards right. Kentros can be found all over on Valguero in these spots here. Need to farm yourself some leech blood to craft a few things, of course you do. Or maybe you even need to cure yourself of swamp fever, then find yourself a dirty blood-sucking leech in these spots here. And if for some miraculous reason you've got batteries on you, even though there's no charge stations on this map, but need to charge them with something, then a light bug does that. Did you know that? No, you do. Go and find a light bug anywhere in Aberration. Fancy buffing yourself any drops? Well, get yourself a Drakeling, or if you really wanted to tame one of these, there's really no reason to tame one of these anymore. You might as well take this out the game, ARK, or maybe try and TLC this one. Leoplorodons can be found all over in the deep ocean.
Good day, old chum. Alfred here, ready to buff your dinos. Let me do a little backflip for you at a moment's notice, and if you'd like to tame me, I can be found all over in these spots. Fabulous, yes. Don't forget, I can come in aberrant variant forms too.
Silky Silky, Poopy Poopy from the air, Lymantrias can be found, apparently, to tame if you want to, in the Chalk Hill areas here. And of course, if you want to farm some serious wood, there is probably no better creature to get in your life than a mammoth. Go to town with one of these, not forgetting its weight reduction on wood, and of course how much it can carry, and still doubles as an absolute powerhouse, not forgetting its recent buff in recent weeks, months. And mammoths can be found all over in these snowy regions here. A great sea traversing creature, unless you accidentally touch land and then instantly kill the thing. But if you don't do that, then you may want to tame one of these. Mantas can be found all over in these early ocean lakey areas across Valguero. And yes, that's right, deep within the fiery scar lurks mantis to tame. Going to be a bit of a nightmare for you to tame with fire wyverns all lurking about, but you can tame one. If you plan to tame one, then you need to go down there and get those horns at the ready to nab yourself a one-punch Mickey O'Neill. Fancy a bit of wall climbing in your life? Well, then you probably want to get a rock drake, but if you're not ready to hatch an egg in time, then go and get yourself a Megalania. You can find these in these specific cave locations across Valguero. Still an absolute excellent choice when it comes to thatch farming and definitely moves at buck speeds. The Megaloceros deer can be found all across Valguero in these locations here. Dun 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 dun. There's also alpha variants too. Nice, easy chitin farming for anyone out there if you're planning to farm plenty of it. Meganoras can be found everywhere, all over in these locations on Valguero. And say hello to the brand new Garuga made monstrous creature. This thing is an absolute wonderful design, an absolute crazy tame to encounter, and something to fear if you run into one unprepared. Megaraptors can be found all over Valguero in these locations here. And hey, with a bug-filled cave with a bug-buffed mini-boss guarding the entrance, you may want to find yourself something that kills bugs with serious force because of the bug insect killer buff that it gets when it touches any bugs. Megatheriums can be found all over in the redwood areas here. likes to stick its finger in its bum, then throw poop at you. Have you ever watched it do that? It really, really does do that. Used to open doors, not even sure if it still opens doors, but if it does and you want to do that or want to slow creatures down with its poop throwing abilities, Mesopithecus can be found all over in the jungle spawn region locations here. A pesky, annoying thing to encounter will only simply serve to get on your nerves, but they do exist on this map too. Microraptors can be found all over in the redwoods and other regions across Valguero too. And deep in the abyss of the ocean, the once dubbed king of the ocean, Mosasaurus, can be found deep within, with of course alpha variants to find down there too. And if raising rock drakes, then you're going to need to get yourself some nameless venom, and the only way to do that is by killing nameless, and nameless can be found specifically in the red hazard zone within Aberration here. Who wants a Moschopes? Of course you want Moschopes, because Moschopes can harvest so many things, and you can find Moschopes in all of these spots here, as well as the Aberration version. One day might be a worthy thing to tame, but I just don't know, man. Like Onyx, they're great and all to run into and then catch rabies off, but taming them, do you really tame them? I want to know. Comment below if you do. But if you want to find them here. And the lovable shoulder companion arrives to this map as well, a great artifact holding companion that can also offer some splendid incubation on top. Hello there, Mr. Otter. We can find you and your Aberration version in these locations here. An absolute necessity for anybody in any base now, because this thing picks up your eggs. Great for doing that specifically. Oviraptors can be found all over in these locations for you to tame. Need some mutton in your life or want to do some serious hide farming, then you want to get yourself some Ovis right and find Ovis all over in these locations with Aberration versions to find too. Not really my go-to, but Captain Fat Dog loves these. Patches can be a certain thing to tame if you want to go and headbutt people in the face with, and you can find patches all over in these locations on Valguero. Or perhaps you want to be a love machine, spread your love here, there and everywhere and attract things towards you. That's what the Patchy Rhino does, right? And if you want to tame one, then find Patchy Rhinos all over in these locations here. Big phallic looking dinosaur always comes in with the wonderful innuendo puns. Racers can be found all over in these spots here with Aberration variants on top. A great thing to alert you if anyone's coming near your base, and also scare away little small dinos. I keep forgetting that's got that cool ability on top. Parasaurs can be found all over Valguero in these locations with Aberrant variants as well. An absolute necessity for anybody that's got gachas, though you won't find gachas on this map, but if you've got gachas then you want to tame one of these, or maybe you just want to avoid these from stealing your goods, right? Pegos can be found all over in these spots across Valguero. Always a great choice if you want to go poly farming, because that's what this thing does. Hits well, farms well from penguins. Pelagornis can be found and tamed in these spots here. Have you got a case of the runs or just want to see some serious poop running out at force? Then get some stimberries, find a Phiomia, and jobs are good, and then you'll find Phiomias in these locations here. Always want to nip at your toes when you least expect it. That's pretty much what they do in ARK. That's about it, but you can find piranhas all over in these locations here. Surprisingly, an absolute abundance of arguably the best traveling creature in ARK. Procoptodons are found all across Valguero in all of these spots, and don't forget they've got some great breeding abilities on top too. The starter flyer on most maps is here on Valguero to get yourself some keratin from turtle corpses found on the beaches, and then go and tame one of these with ease and get in the skies. Pteranodon can be found all over in these locations across Val. Get over here! Or just get stung by one until you get knocked out and fall asleep. Scorpions can be found all across in Valguero, normally found in caves especially. Normally found by jumping out of a mound and stunning you in your spot, and most definitely will do that in specific cave locations on this map. But if you want to tame one and use one as some special secret storage, you can do that too. Wish a saddle will be granted to this creature. The Palovias can be found all over in these spots here. And possibly going to be a new TLC'd creature. Got a recent speed buff, though still don't feel like it's just enough speed to make it a worthwhile creature to tame. But you never know, you still might want to get one of these and do the old school Anky metal farming method with one of these. And if you do, then find Quetzals all across in these spots spawning here. And somewhat still quite a flagship dino when it comes to ARK. Has been found riding these in previous ARK posters. Can still pounce on stuff if you want to do that, and has kind of a cool pack buff on top. Raptors can be found all across Valguero in these locations. Not forgetting, of course, its big, ugly, level-offering alpha variant can be found in these spots too, and of course the Aberrant variant can be found across in the mini Aberration zone as well. And whilst you're in Aberration and need yourself an early game farming tame that does some bleed damage if you're not taming one, then Ravagers can be found all across in the mini Aberration zone for you to nab. And that's right, a first for this version of Valguero, a great thing to see, giving even less reason to go to Aberration. I'm so surprised to see these on this map, but they're here and they're as mean as they ever have been, but definitely going to be an easier thing to get yourself impregnated now because of how quickly you can get to this area. Queen Reapers are here on Valguero, ready to get Pregante. Still the go-to all-rounder, right, with its tanky health and monster melee. The Rex patrols across all of these areas on Valguero if you plan to get the once was the go-to boss fighting dino with its alpha variants to wander into too. And that's right, with this version of Valguero comes 2 new variants of rock elementals. First up, the Chalk variant, which looks pretty cool, can be found across all of the Chalk Hill Zone areas, and the Ice variant, which looks even cooler because, you know, ice, cool, cold, sorry, taxi for one, can be found all across these locations here. Turns out to be a pretty handy companion when it comes to Titano taming, believe it or not, but still a very prized creature for a lot of people to nab if they plan to. Rhinonaphers can be found in these swampy locations on Valguero to find. And yes, that's right, a great addition to Valguero. Was originally meant to be in the ASE version of Val, but Wildcard said no, but they said yes this time around because of reasons. Rock Drakes are now plentiful within the Aberration hazard zone, with plenty of nests and eggs for you to nab and take home and make a Rock Drake yours today. Not really a fan favourite, but definitely one of my favourites. Slap a saddle on one of these and get rolling, 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 rolling. Or just encounter to get yourself some easy free gems. Roll Rats can be found across Aberration in these locations. Still a great viable choice if you plan to get around a map pretty quick, with it being relatively easy to nab early on. Sabertooths can be found all over Val in these locations for you to get mounted and go to town on. Planning to tame yourself an otter or a Hesperornis, then you want to get yourself a mighty, weighty Sabertooth salmon and find Sabertooth salmon all across in these locations here. Pales in comparison to its bigger cousin now, but definitely still a great choice for a land-to-sea creature is, of course, the Croc. It's still here, it's still there in Valguero, can be found everywhere in these locations here. Not forgetting there's an Aberrant variant to find too, and quite a rare thing to find on Valguero because there's one specific location for these this time around. Shinehorns are available to find on Valguero, but you're going to need to go to a certain cave to find one if you plan to tame one. And most recently got a bit of a buff if you forgot. I'm wondering how good this is against the boss of this map, considering there's plenty of water on this map, or in the arena of this map. Is the Spino, can be found all across these locations here to tame. Not forgetting, of course, there's an Aberrant variant that gives you a little bit of a buff in, is it health, I think, with Aberrant variants, but yeah, get one and get one here in these locations here in Aberration, of course. Still a mighty go-to tool when it comes to tanking, and its multi-purpose abilities offers a few things for berry wood harvesting abilities. Stegosauruses can be found all across Valguero in these locations here, with of course Aberrant variants to find too. Still a go-to choice if you plan to get a tech shooting flying saddle is the Tapawara. You can find the Tapawaras all across Valguero in these locations for some multi-purpose seating shooting from. And if you want to get Flappy Happy early on, this is a great choice for that, for getting around a map early on in the game. Terror birds can be found normally poking you in the face with their beaks in these locations here. And still the almighty multi-purpose creature that definitely hits a hard punch or a hard swipe with its Freddy Krueger claws, definitely still harvests plenty of different resources. Therazinos can be found all across in these locations. An absolute go-to must-have tame on this map because of the Brood Mummy, and this thing bleeds the Brood Mummy. Thylacoleos are plentiful enough across Valguero. Do they really need a TLC though? But something that definitely does need one, come on Wildcard, please do something with this to make it worth taming, is the Titanoboa, just simply on the map in these locations to knock you out really. Always a plentiful creature to run into. Normally when you're taming something to come over and ruin its taming affinity is Titanomura. You can find these all over the map in these spots here. And still quite a good early go-to tame when it comes to berry farming, weight travelling or knocking things back with its big mighty face and horns is the Trike, and its Aberrant variant can be found in these locations here. Can't be bothered to go all the way down to the depths to farm Eurypterids for black pearls. Well, these ones grant you black pearls as well if you can find them to kill them, and you can find trilobites all over in these locations here. Learning more and more, these possibly have more abilities than we first thought. Don't forget they can search traps for you. Did you know that? Troodons can be found all over across in the deep dark redwoods. Don't wander into those at night unless you want to go for an early sleep. And down deep in the ocean, not far from Dunkleos and Moses, is something that you can easily kill if you've got a Helicoprion at hand, is Tuzos. You'll find these all over in these spots here if you want some very easy black pearl farming, with of course its alpha variant on top to grant some serious black pearls on top too. And well, you can't have Equus on the map without its rare horned variant. Unicorns can be found on Valguero too in exactly the same spawn locations with its much rarer spawn. And still a great go-to choice if you want to mutate that melee. These things can pack an absolute serious punch. Or maybe you want to farm these for horns to tame Mantis with. Woolly rhinos can be found all across in these locations here. And if you plan to go into a boss fight, you don't go into a boss fight without one of these by your side, right? Eutyrannus can be found all across Valguero in these locations to get Karen roaring at you at a moment's notice. If you want to get flip-flopping across the land, there really is no better way to do it than with a Cyphactinus. It really is a mean machine. If you've got a few of these, seriously, go do it. It's fun. You can find the stinky sphincters all across the ocean in these locations. And yes, for crying out loud, they are on this map too. Why, oh why, wildcard, do you continue to put this somewhere on the map? I'm sure someone is holding someone at gunpoint for this, but it is here on this map too. Pyromanes can be found, well, deep within the Wyvern Scar to tame too. And that's your lot. Hopefully this is going to help someone out there. There's plenty of creatures out there for you to nab and tame on Valguero, perhaps way more than there was on ASE. And well, big love. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, comment below and all that jazz. Until the next one, my name's Raasclark. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And as always, peace out.